I am trying to not be an annoying radio host. It just comes naturally.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. As we do every Thursday, let's figure out what DJ hasn't turned on yet. Yeah, okay, it's everybody's favorite show. I don't know why I can't seem to wrap my head around my new setup. I think it's just because I've done it the old way this so much. And I don't want to sound like that guy, like, oh, my way, back in the day. I'm not that. I'm literally going from putting in no effort to this show to putting in some effort into this show. And as anyone will tell you, is you go from 0 to 1 is the hardest step. As opposed to going from 1 to 3, yeah. I think everything's recording. Yeah. So, unfortunately, and I don't mean to start with unfortunately, but unfortunately, I have a bit of an announcement to read, but well, I just screw with your heads with that one for a minute. Let's get on to regular business, shall we? All right. You are watching the Top 20. If you're watching, if you're listening to the Hard Rock Lunchbox. They are one and the same. They're just only slightly different, kind of like race, right? Suppose we could talk about that a little later. The brand new Top 20 is out. It's where I talk a little bit about bio-individuality and stuff like that, and my very much fun time whenever I have gotten fast food from like Wendy's late at night, my experience with their big meaty buns, positive message, blah, 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 and we talked a lot about The Breakfast Club and how totally on point that movie was and all that other stuff, but it's out now. I would appreciate if you give it a look. I'll try and share it later today or maybe over the weekend, and looks and likes and subscribes are always appreciated, so thank you for that. Also on Strangerhood TV, you can check out the full interview of Rob Jacobs on Bacon Is My Podcast. Also, I guess we're heading into April now, so Bacon Is My Podcast is dumping 2 bacons a week. They've got Lauren from Beard Owl Podcast, and Haley Michelle, who I don't know who she is. She's the Paranormal Princess. Check that out. I will give that a look probably over the weekend after things settle down from my show. Speaking of which, my show is tomorrow night, April 1st. I know, April Fool's Day. It's bananas. I assure you it is quite real. I was actually kind of in a bit of a slump for ticket sales on that. I appreciate everyone that stepped up and bought them over the past couple of days. I didn't know what to quite make of it. I've never played at Stereo Garden. I never even played there when it was the Emporium. So I just didn't know if the venue itself had, some of that Long Island stink on it, which I know it did as the Emporium, but I wasn't sure what was what. So, but it looks like more and more people are going, and that's great. I know it's hard for my guys to draw people out that far. It's like a 45-minute to an hour-long trip from Long Beach to Patchogue, so it's a good grab. I mean, I'm glad they were able to get some, and looks like we're going to have a good show. Looks like we might even sell out of tickets, which would be awesome. Something I figured we would do, but it just didn't look like it was happening. But that's tomorrow night at Stereo Garden in Patchogue on Long Island, and we'll be playing with Pathmaker, Carver Path, Stonehenge, Magus Beast, and of course Osmosis New York, which is like apparently the preeminent Ozzy Osbourne tribute band in New York. I don't honestly know where those rankings come from. I'm just telling you what they told me. So I know I'm looking forward to singing along with a little Ozzy, man, just belting out some Crazy Train or whatever. So I think that's going to be fun. And as I mentioned, I think last week, it does look like it's going to be the last local show for Revel 9 for a little while. And that doesn't mean we have plans to do others. I mean, we have something for Queens kind of on the calendar in the summer. We just don't. We have other stuff that we're going to be working on, and we do have a kind of like special thing that we're going to be building. So stay tuned for that. As soon as I have some official dates and stuff, I will absolutely tell you guys first, because honestly, I'm going to need a whole lot of your help, and that is going to be a whole show in and of itself, just like me talking about the way things are working with the band these days and why we're doing what we're doing and all that other stuff. Before I read my announcement, though, about the show tomorrow night, and it's important, I do want to point out something else. I did not optimize this show, like we know that. I have this new Logitech camera. I refuse to optimize because you don't own me, Logitech. That's what it is. I don't know if that's the same tack that like anti-maskers and antivaxxers take, but like you can't tell me what to put in my body. Well, you can't tell me what to put in my laptop either. Also, I'm not going to reverse engineer a 4-year-old laptop to put a USB 3 in there. That just seems ridiculous. However, as I was just completely screwing around looking for a button the other day, it feels like a whole other day, I found this. So Logitech, the software, and you can't see this, you're just going to have to take my word for it. Logitech software has, I should have brought a mirror, has something called auto framing, and I didn't know what it was, so I turned it on and I tried it out. Now, this is going to be something for the top 20 for next week, or if you're watching it for currently. But I'm just as curious. I am very curious, so I'm going to try it out. Basically, what it does when you turn on auto framing, like I just did, it pushes in and zooms in on me, which I believe the whole world could do without. But it does that so it can maintain the entire field of view, so it can do stuff like track me if I move, like over here. So if I move over there, it's going to track and zoom. And if I move back over here really quick, oh, I'm over here now. I could go up and I could go down, and it just follows me around, which I think would probably be the most distracting and annoying thing I could do as a host, which kind of makes it appealing, got to kind of admit. But I am trying not to be I am trying to not be an annoying radio host. It just comes naturally, so I don't need any help, honestly. So I'm going to turn that shit off, and we're going to go back to normal because that's the way we do it here, old school. I do actually hope that worked because that would be kind of funny to see. All right, on to some business. I do have a statement I must read, and this affects the show over the weekend, all right? So please, if you're planning on going to the show this weekend, I want you to pay close attention. This Saturday, my family and I are going to stand together to cheer on the Tar Heels as the team has made it to the Final Four. As a lifelong Carolina basketball fan, I've watched Carolina and Duke battle over the year, but to have them match up in the Final Four, blah, 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 blah. I appreciate it to give up your Saturday night plans with us so that I can have this moment with my family and sports community. Of course, I'm kidding. I'm literally making fun of somebody else because that is what we do here on the show. Yeah. Eric Church, who I didn't think was a douche until now, is apparently a huge douche. He has canceled his Saturday night show so that he can watch North Carolina and Duke play in a basketball game. Yeah, I agree. It's a very important basketball game. It is the finals of March Madness. It's a big deal. Would I cancel a sellout show so that I could go watch a basketball game? Nope. I am somebody that believes in the fans that have put me where they have put me, and no matter how much hard work I put in, the reality is it doesn't matter. If it weren't for the fans, I would not be there. This dude is canceling a sold-out show that's been sold out for months. He's canceling it last minute so that he can watch a college basketball game because it means more to him to do what he wants to do than it means to do what's right by the fans. Now, this is the same dude that did not cancel shows when his entire band had COVID, by the way. But basketball, absolutely. Now, I could be biased and am. First of all, I don't like rednecks, but that's just me. And I'm also not a big sports fan. I am not an end-all, be-all sports fan. I have said for years that I don't understand why people invest so much of their internal energy in sports. I mean, other than just the escapism of something and to feel like you belong to something. But, like, if you're going to do that, why not just do drugs like all the cool people? Like, you could just... And I'm not advocating drugs, so please don't take that out of context. But I'm also not advocating sports. I mean, to be perfectly honest, like, I've always thought that a dude that's wearing another dude's name on the back of his shirt, I think it's his girlfriend. I thought that's how that works. I don't know. Like, I thought maybe not, but I thought that that's how that worked. I find it funny that people take so much of their own energy and put it in to sports teams, right? Multi-million-dollar athletes playing sports. They would much rather turn their attention to something like the Final Four or March Madness in general than, say, like a real contest going on in Russia and Ukraine. Like, that's, you know what? That's a way better sport. If you want to know it all, like that is the sport to watch, because people were all big about Jersey City's St. Peter's, Paul's, can't remember, whatever that Cinderella team was from Jersey City. I got to tell you, at the start of this war, so Russia was seeded like number 3 in the world. Ukraine, I don't even think was ranked, and here they are in the finals. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not trying to be a dick about it. I'm just saying, like, there's actual real contests I would be much more interested in. And I've never understood the absolute fascination with sports that people seem to have. And that's okay. Like, I don't need to, and that's not what this conversation is about. If that's your thing, do your thing. I love soccer. I love coaching the girls and stuff like that. But to be perfectly honest, I'm missing HERricanes practice tomorrow night just so I can go do this show. And I am no Eric Church, and this sucker did not sell out. And it's funny, actually. I read just one of the comments. Seriously, in this day and age where people are just so ballsy on their keyboards, like, it's kind of interesting to read comments these days. I told you, like, the funniest thing in the News 12 Instagram feed is just the comments of the dumbest people on Long Island commenting dumb shit. But yeah, this is, here's one of the comments. Quote, $800 airfare for 2 from Miami to Austin, $950 car rental. I got to see that car. $500 a night hotel on the river in San Antonio, $2,000 for 2 front row tickets, second time, all for naught. By the way, good luck. I mean, good job on an Eric Church fan using naught and using it correctly. A third Twitter user wrote, quote, I hope North Carolina wins for your sake. I'm beyond disappointed. Damn, bro. Other users appreciated Church's candidness, with one person tweeting, kudos to Eric Church for being upfront about canceling the show to watch his heels in the Final Four. Could have easily come up with a bullshit excuse. I have news for you. It is a bullshit excuse. Like, it's a real one, but it's still a bullshit excuse. And I could do you one better, because I thought about this and I was like, this is bananas. This is completely ridiculous. Like, yeah. Tell Eric Church he owes $460 for my hotel in San Antonio. Eric Church didn't cancel when his whole band had COVID, but did for a basketball game. Yeah, man, this is bullshit. Pissing off your fans. I hope they never go see you again. I truly do. And honestly, like, I was giving it some thought, and I was wondering, like, what I would do in that situation. Like, let's say the only way I could possibly put this into any sort of, like, perspective in my life, something that's that important to me, would be like if my HERricanes all of a sudden made, like, the World Cup, right? And their game was going to be, like, Friday night, and I was playing a sold-out show in Madison Square Garden. Now, I realize that every single thing I just said is a huge reach, and that's cool. I get it. But let's just suspend disbelief for a minute, right? Sold-out show in Madison Square Garden. My HERricanes somehow made it to the World Cup. I mean, they barely beat Plainview Old Bethpage last week, but, again, disbelief, suspension. Say they're doing that, and the game is going to be on right during my show. I guess they're playing in Asia somewhere. The absolute worst that would happen is that I would take the stage with my band and play the show. However, I reserve the right to have those big jumbotrons. I'd probably have the game on. Yep, I could have the game on, still do the show. And I will say, anytime there's a corner kick or a PK, we're stopping whatever song we're in the middle of, and we can all watch it together. And I think that would be a much more enjoyable experience. Dude, if he did one song and then stopped to check in on the game and watch some of the replays and stuff, I love that. You could do an entire concert in the commercials, I'm sure. You have to watch the whole thing. Put it on your little monitor up front. How many people would come see us in Madison Square Garden while I'm playing the World Cup on the Jumbotron? And I'll just stop to comment every now and then. I'm going to give you a full show. You're not wasting any of your time. If I have to play late, I'll play late. I'm doing the set. Because at my low-level station, right now with my band, where I am as a B- national, I care more about my fans than Eric Church does. Just saying. I also don't want to be that guy and point out the fact that we knew the date of this game. We knew the date of this game forever ago, right? It's not like they just like, oh, crap, we need a stadium and a date. We knew the date. We knew it was the 2nd. We knew the finals was going to be the 2nd of April. If you're such a big Tar Heels fan, maybe you should have bet on them and taken the night off. But you didn't, did you? Dickus. Eric Church, Dickhead of the Week. All right. Oh, man. So, I realize I'm running out of time for the top 20, and that kind of happens, but we should probably take a minute and just talk about what happened at the Oscars, seeing as everybody else has been talking about what happened at the Oscars. I thought I was on some solid ground, thinking that Will Smith was 105% in the wrong. My stance since the time I was big has been like, you don't meet words with violence. I definitely struggled with a lot of that when I was learning it in like elementary school. I used to get into fights all the time. I used to get into fights all the time mainly because I would lip off because I was a wise ass. I was also a pretty, not disturbed, but troubled kid. I had a bunch of stuff going on in my family for a lot of years, and I took that kind of stuff out on people. I was also a bigger kid, so I was a target. And I would fight often because of stuff I would say. And I just believe that I don't think I'll ever, I hope I'll never, meet words with violence again, because I think it's completely the wrong thing to do. I think people saying what they want and being able to express themselves is important. I think the only time I would put up an exception for that is if somebody's words are, I'm coming over there to kick your ass, and I feel like that is about as physical as words can get. So I think that that might deserve a response, or at least a defensive posture. You know, plus so many people are talking about, like, what's funny and what's not funny, and I don't think it really matters, you know? He didn't, like, Chris Rock didn't say to Jada, like, anything, like, insulting to her. And he wasn't like, you're a B, you're a C, you're a D, E, F, G, L, M, N, O, P. He didn't say any of those things. He was actually just saying a joke, basically, because that's what he was getting paid to do. I could even make a bigger argument if he was really threatening to the woman or really, really insulting to the woman, like we said, like, you know, dropping like the B, C, or D bombs or whatever. Not that D's a bomb, but, you know, he didn't go into any of the stuff that I didn't even know about Jada Pinkett Smith until the world decided to share it all with me over the week. He didn't do any of that. He made an offhanded joke about her hair. And people took great offense to that, you know. You can take offense all you want. Like, you really can. Like, this whole world and this whole society is, if the past 5 years have taught me anything, it's that people can and will take offense to absolutely anything they want. And this is not a left problem. This is not a right problem. I mean, these are people that, like, you know, I mean, the whole half a decade has really been like, well, you don't like what I say? Well, you're a snowflake. Like, really? First of all, you're name calling just because somebody doesn't agree with you, which is bananas. I mean, like, so much stuff that people do is just based on the stuff that we've been witnessing over the past couple of years. And I will say that I am beyond shocked at how many people actually came to Will Smith's defense, like people that I know, including my own sister. I mean, she was pretty vocal or adamant about the fact that, you know, she thought Chris Rock and Will Smith were both wrong, and I don't think Chris Rock was wrong at all. I think he's a comedian. He was paid to do his job. Like, whether or not you like the joke, that's kind of on you. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know anything about Jada Pinkett Smith. The only thing I really know about her is that she's married to Will Smith and she ruined the second Matrix movie. But that's my opinion. Like, that's probably the joke I would have gone with. I thought it was funny, and I actually defended it to my sister, saying that, yo, he called up a movie, an Oscar reference to an A-list actor, apparently, or at least world-famous actress in Jada Pinkett Smith, and he made a joke about a movie that was so awful that the only thing anybody remembers about it is that Demi Moore, another A-list actress or actor, shaved her head for it. Right? That's the only thing anybody can tell you about G.I. Jane, because it was that bad of a movie. So I thought it was timely, I thought it was topical, and I actually thought it was funny. Whether or not it's hurtful or insulting, I guess that's for everybody to decide for themselves. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. I've had jokes made at my expense my entire life. Like my name, my weight, like, you know, whatever anybody's wanted to do. Like, it sucks and I don't like it, but like, is it something that I'm going to meet with violence? No, of course not. You know, aside from the fact that half the people that are just like, yeah, you absolutely have to bitch slap somebody that insults your wife, half the people that are saying that I know are shit husbands and say shit stuff about their wife all the time. Their wives all the time. I mean, it's just the society we live in. Like, you can't degrade women and then defend them. Like, I mean, obviously you can, but like, you know, I'm not going to take anything you have to offer seriously if that's you're going to be your big stance on things. I mean, that's just it's just kind of bananas. It's kind of ridiculous that anybody would actually think that was okay. I'm shocked. I don't know who in my listening audience thinks that it was okay to do that thinks that defending your woman is something you need to do. I mean, like, yeah, man, just leave. Like, don't be there, walk out, whatever. And yeah, you can be there, but like, you need to understand, like, if you're going to a comedy show and you're going to be sitting like kind of presently up front, like, yeah, the comics, that's kind of their job. They do audience work. They do crowd work. The best comics in the world. And, you know, anybody that's telling me that they don't think the joke is funny, I would like to remind them that Chris Rock is one of the most accomplished comedians of my lifetime. He is probably one of the funniest people on the planet. So I am going to defer to him when it comes to comedy and not some douchebag on Facebook that tells me I don't think the joke was funny. Because honestly, nobody gives a shit what you think is funny. Because Chris Rock is a professional comedian and you're just some keyboard warrior spouting out your opinions on an old, dated social media platform. So I'm going to listen to Chris. Plus, I want to point out one final thing about this. Apparently, this was a whole big public thing that people knew about Jada Pinkett Smith with her alopecia and her infidelity and all that other stuff. Sounds to me like kind of a target, right? She went out in the world and told everybody her problems and spilled her entire purse over like Ali Sheedy did in The Breakfast Club, and people are going to talk about it. And I would like to point out the very, very simple fact that when you know you've done something like that and you've put a target on your behavior or your persona as a public entity, if she wanted to keep it private, she could have kept her mouth shut. She didn't. She put it out there. It's a public thing. She's a public figure, right? That's how we define them. And so all that information was out. She was going to be sitting in line of sight with a very, very talented and topical comedian, and knew all that going in. And it was more important for Will Smith to be there in case he won his award than it was to not be there and protect his wife from that scrutiny. And that is something that's completely getting lost. Because if you really cared about your wife and keeping her kind of safe like that, you would never have put her in that position in the first place. That's why, Mr. Smith, you are a piece of shit, and I hope you get punished for it. I hope you get punished severely. I hope you're kicked out of the Academy. I hope they take your Oscar away, and I hope you're ashamed of yourself, because you're an asshole. Speaking of assholes, I have a lot more to say later on in the show, but for right now, let's have something good.